Hello, this is Bo Knuth from Retriever Software. Today's demonstration will be for the emergency command and control dispatching capability. The window that we're looking at right now is similar to what dispatchers in an emergency operations center would see. They would be looking at two screens or two monitors. This could be shot up on to some screens or on some large plasma displays, or just shown locally on a regular desktop PC. The left-hand side will list all of our requisitions that have been forwarded by shelters or other agencies that are being supported with resupply by the state. And on the right side monitor will be the mapping capability that will allow the dispatcher to see graphically where the shelter locations are and where all the vehicles are. Integrated in with this application is the GPS capability in the vehicle, so that we have real-time information coming in as far as where all of those vehicles are. This dispatching capability is for the resupply of the vehicles that are making deliveries to the shelters and other approved agencies. The same sort of dispatching window would also be used for evacuation purposes. It would match up the shelters and the available beds in the shelters to the buses and the medical status of the evacuees who are on the buses, to make sure that everybody gets to the appropriate type of facility. So in an emergency situation, we would expect to see half a dozen or more dispatchers, all with this sort of capability in front of them for doing the mapping and for tracking all of the requisitions, and basically tracking all of the resources and all of the requirements throughout the entire emergency process. So with that said, we'll go ahead and jump into the dispatching functionality here. You can see we can hit, we've got various filters up here for being able to look at only specific shelters or be able to look at only specific items. There are also other windows for complete inventory control and warehousing that we'll go through in a later demonstration. But this filtering information does give you the capability of filtering out or just displaying specific information in our list of requisitions from the shelters. In this case, we're showing all the ones that we have outstanding. Now, by clicking on one of the requisitions, and we're going to click on this first line here for a shelter that needs some diesel fuel for its generators, what we'll see happen is it'll go into the database at that point, and it'll find all of the vehicles that have inventory of diesel fuel. So we are tracking for every vehicle out there exactly what the inventory is that they have on hand. Now on the mapping section on the right hand monitor, you'll see that our map has zoomed in to give us a good view of the shelter location here shown in the blue dot, along with the red dots, which are the resupply vehicles. It gives us the names, it gives us whatever kind of remarks we have in the database, and it can also show us statuses and quantities on hand, although we have the quantity on hand listed over here on the left hand window as well. Now the distance from each one of the resupply vehicles to the shelter is listed here under distances, and so the dispatcher can easily determine which would be the most appropriate vehicle for servicing that request. Now by clicking on one of the vehicles in the list here, you'll notice that the map will change again, and an automatic route generation will take place. So the driving directions are shown up here on the top half of the window, and the route from the vehicle to the destination is shown with the green line. Now, if we decide that this is the dispatcher decides this is the vehicle that we want to send for resupply, he does a right click on this line and it brings up a pop-up menu, and we can go ahead and assign that vehicle. So what will happen at this point is the application will start generating a packet of information to go down to the Pocket PC. And this packet will include the information that we're looking at on the map. It'll include the driving directions, it'll include the route. It'll also generate a Microsoft Pocket Streets map that will include the entire general area around the vehicle. And then on the vehicle, it will be able to use its GPS in order to be able to do navigation. So we can control the presentation on the mapping screen simply by clicking on the rows over here on the right hand side of the screen. We can close down driving directions, We can zoom in and zoom out. We can do things like, if we want to see the area around the vehicle, we can actually use the mouse and click to zoom. So we've got a lot of navigation type of functionality here that's replicated as well on the Pocket PC. So we'll show you what that looks like next. Now that the dispatcher has made the assignment to the driver of fuel truck number 4, we'll switch over and take a look at what the Pocket PC application running on the Symbol Technologies MC9094 looks like. We'll start by logging on the same way we do with the evacuation application. You'll notice that we've specified fuel truck number 4 here. And once we log on, you'll see that there's a different menu than what you would get if you were doing the evacuation functions, and these are specifically designed for the vehicle driver. You'll notice that they can review their assignment. They've got a button for getting the information on where they're supposed to be going next. They'll be able to enter their delivery information once they get to their final destination. They'll be able to view the driving directions. It's very much like you could get from a MapQuest or a MapPoint or Microsoft Street, something like that. They'll be able to view the route, which is what the dispatcher was looking at before he transmitted this information down. They'll also be able to bring up Pocket Streets, and that'll show them the push pins, the location of their vehicle as determined by the GPS along with the destination. And so you'll see at this point the Pocket PC is designed so that once a minute it goes up to the central database and checks for new assignments, new lookup files with location information or employee information or new shelters or new vehicles to keep all of its lookup tables up to date. So this process is doing now is it's downloading. You'll see the file extension is MPS, that's for Microsoft Pocket Streets. It's actually downloading that entire package that was created by the dispatcher. So that included the driving directions file, the route file, and the Pocket Streets file. And so so basically it's all used for navigation purposes. The only thing that's not navigation related is the actual requisition that's also being downloaded in this package. So this download only takes about 1 minute to accomplish, and then once that's done we'll show you exactly what functionality is available here for performing the navigation, and then once we're navigated to our destination we'll show you what doing the actual delivery function looks like. So in case the driver missed that scroll bar there, that progress bar that was showing them the download, they do have this indication now that a new assignment has been received. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And you'll see now that we can actually go in and view the route. We'll go ahead and click on the View Route button. And you'll see it brings up Internet Explorer. And if we scroll over a little bit here, you'll see here is our route with a nice green line. Here's our original vehicle location, that's number 1, and here's our destination, which is our shelter that we're going to. So if we go ahead and close that down, that kind of gives you the high-level view of where we're going. Now you can also go and view directions. So we'll go ahead and click on the View Directions button, and you'll see it also brings up Internet Explorer again. And here are all of our driving directions. Again, this is the same stuff that the dispatcher was looking at before it was transmitted down here to the Pocket PC. It gives you the driving distance in miles and the driving time and turn-by-turn instructions on exactly how to get from where they are now to where they're going. So we'll go ahead and close that window down and click on Pocket Street. So this is tied into the GPS device in the vehicle. And so Pocket Streets gives you the capability. First we get like the highest level overview here, and we get a couple of push pins that show the current vehicle location along with the shelter location. So if we wanted to, say, zoom in on the shelter location, we could either use the zoom in, zoom out little magnifying glasses here at the bottom, or you can just use your mouse and create a square, and once you do that it'll automatically zoom in. And so if we want to look at a very close view of exactly what those streets are around the shelter, we can do that. So very handy for doing navigation, and also show you your current vehicle location will get constantly updated with the GPS in the vehicle. Once we arrive at the final destination at our shelter, we'll go ahead and click on the Deliver button. This will give us the functionality of adjusting the inventory in the vehicle to show that the vehicle has inventory has been decremented by the amount that has been delivered there to the shelter. So we'll go ahead and click on the shelter number where we are. We'll put in the barcode that's associated with the diesel fuel in this case and the amount that we're delivering. And then the application, the Pocket PC application, will go up to the central database, and it will pull up the inventory information that's associated with the diesel fuel. Make sure that this barcode that we've scanned in here is a valid value, and it'll put the quantity in there. So if we had multiple items that we were delivering to the shelter, they would all be listed here, and we'd have the capability of adjusting that list before we finally click on the Done button to send this all back up to the central database to maintain our inventory levels correctly. And once we click the Done button, we do have the option of getting a signature capture, and so we could put something in here. This is optional, but this information is saved again in the central database so that we have a record, very much like doing any other sort of delivery application. And so at that point you're up to date. If at any point before the driver gets to his final destination he needs to make a detour or he just plain gets lost, he can always click on the button up here that says Get Directions, and what that actually does is goes back up to the dispatcher central computer and regenerates all those maps. The driving directions, the route, and the Pocket Streets maps are recreated and then downloaded to the mobile device again. And so that way you can kind of get back on track. And that covers the main functionality here in the dispatching. Feel free to contact Retriever Software if you have any questions about this functionality.